Well, had a bit of music that time. And looks like we had the wrong video
Yeah.
up there. No, we hit the right one.
Oh,
There.
good. All good.
Good, all good. Hey, we are back. Hey, Chris says. Hey.
And it took
Hey,
it
you
took
still
me a
going?
while. I couldn't get on because I have my VPN on, and when I
Oh,
have it on, it doesn't let me go anywhere. It just fools everything.
we
So
don't want you to
for
go
those
anywhere
people
anyway.
who are looking for security, VPN works.
It takes
I
quite a
would
bit of
be
work
work.
to when we go live and things don't work. It takes a lot of work for me to go back and reset everything again. We have to log off our Zoom call, go back in. I got to set all the parameters back up on both feeds and the streams a whole bit. So it usually takes a good 5 minutes, folks, to get back. But here we are,
Here we are.
and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, we'll get started. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, Astronomy Entertainment, actually, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show.
Hey.
Hey, Mike. Hey, hey. I'm glad we're isolated from Paul here tonight.
Yeah.
My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
Hey.
I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton, Paul.
Hello.
And Mr. Mike Powell from the Peel Observatory here in St. John. Mike.
Hey.
And we'll say hello to my brother Danny. He's out there who
Hey, Danny.
every single week. We're going to bring Danny on this week. Might have to bring him on next week, but I'll
Big
go to
hands.
show him how it all goes together. So anyway, hey Dan. Okay, I'd like to welcome to all of you from YouTube and Facebook land. Thank you so much for your support and your support for being here for us when things don't go right. All right, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, there is a particular partial solar eclipse coming next Saturday morning at sunrise.
Yes.
Everybody's up at sunrise. Here in Atlantic Canada, we have the great fortune of being one of the only places on the planet to experience more than 80% of the sun eclipsed by the moon. And it all happens at sunrise. Now, what will we see? What should we do to plan? And what can we do to capture those memories of this amazing event coming? That's the focus of our conversation this evening. And we'll get started here soon. Also tonight, Final Bud will return with another fine binocular target of the week. All new, Mike says, eh? All new ones.
All new ones.
Oh, but a bunch of ones.
Oh, okay. All right.
Everybody forgot the first ones anyway. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
I forget last week's show.
Exactly.
Paul will be delivering another Rosanna's Fun Fact episode for
I
us.
do. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'll have a quick look at what's coming up through the week, plus your photo submissions. Of course, what's coming up through the week is just the eclipse. So
And snow.
and snow.
Lots of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of snow today here in our part of the country, here in the Atlantic Canada provinces.
There were big flakes.
Yeah, man, big flakes of snow and heavy.
And the wind. Wind.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wind today.
You almost think it was winter.
Yeah.
You know what? If winter could be like that, where it would snow that heavy in the morning and give us all that really pretty stuff to look at, with no anxiety, knowing that when the sun comes out, it's going to be all gone.
Yeah.
That would be the
Well,
way.
it's okay for retirees. I mean, when you don't have to get up in the morning, but
Yeah, well, it's kind of nice to look at it and say, well,
look
I'll
out
go
the
back to
window.
bed.
And, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll be there
do
too.
that later.
Okay, let's get started then with a little bit of what's going to be happening. I'm going to bring up my little bit of information here. So I'm going to share. Actually, I'll bring up my picture first of all. Let's see where it's going
You
to
want
go.
to talk about what's behind you, or is that what you're doing?
Oh, well, yeah, that's there. So that's we as a group,
that's
the
the big
Sunday
deal.
Night Astronomy Show are going to be presenting a live stream of the partial solar eclipse to timeanddate.com. Timeanddate.com gets about 2 million visitors per day. And in the last lunar eclipse live stream that they ran, they had about 420,000 visitors. They had about 1.2 million visitors for their total solar eclipse last year. So these guys are the professionals at it. They've got a big group over in Europe, and they even have a mobile unit that travels around to try to get the spots where it's going to be the best view. And they approached us about our operation here and what, if we could provide them with a live link. So we went out this week, did a couple of tests on it. It's looking good so far. We'll probably run a couple more tests before we go live on Saturday, but we will be streaming live to them. And then they'll be streaming, of course, to the rest of the world. So we're kind of excited about that. Also, I'll be streaming to my YouTube and Facebook channel as well at the same time. Now, I won't be on there doing commentary, but I will be streaming to them as well, hopefully. So there was a lot of stuff that had to take place here to get us ready for this event for sure. We got to find the right spot. We got to get good cell coverage. We're in the middle of nowhere kind of thing. So all these things had to happen. But we've been planning it, and we've been chatting back and forth with these guys. They're great to deal with, and great to just a great group.
Yeah, well, he was saying too that
Excuse me.
where he or they as a company, they deal with people all over the world, so they've got support everywhere. And we were just fortunate enough to be in the place where the best views are going to be for the longest
Right.
period of time.
Mm.
And so it all kind of worked out that being here in the Atlantic provinces is kind of a nice thing by times, and
Yeah,
you
that's
get
right.
some real nice views and all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, the rest of the world can get the views of what's going on here
Mm.
in the Maritime. So we'll put Maritime people, a little further on the mapping, look another few eyes to look at what's going on down here in the eastern part of Canada.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It won't be the first part of their feed because we have the best as it rises. We'll have the most obscure, moon
Yeah,
obscure
yeah. To see those horns come up, that's going to be the exciting
horns
thing.
coming up. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, yeah. Weather-wise, they do say it's 71% cloudy on that day since the year 2000. But
We're
they
hoping
said
that
that about,
the clouds will be to
about the
the
total
west.
eclipse too. Hmm?
Yeah.
Clouds will all be to the west.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good. Based on the couple of things I've looked at, it looks like it should be clear. I mean, there's going to be cloud somewhere, but I think we'll be all right.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hope
And
you
the
can't
nice
see
thing
that,
about the
though.
sun is it's going to be pretty bright regardless. So even if it's thin cloud, it'll burn through. You'll be able to see it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Audrey says, listening to your show while I drive back from Halifax. Not watching. That's good, Audrey.
Oh, fantastic.
we do appreciate the support, but not that much. So yeah, we're happy to entertain you on your way back as long as you're just listening and not watching. But thank you. Okay, let's get to a couple of things that are happening, or why it's all happening, I guess. So I'm going to bring us up to screen number this one, I guess. I'll go this one. Put this first.
There you go.
Good trip there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we got three types of eclipses that we can talk about when it comes to solar. We have a partial eclipse when the moon doesn't quite completely block out the full disk of the sun, and then we have an annular eclipse when the same thing is happening. The moon is not blocking out the complete disk of the sun, but it's aligned with us, and that happens because the moon is an elliptical orbit around us. So sometimes it's farther away, sometimes it's closer. If it's farther away, it can't completely cover the disk of the sun. So this is an annular eclipse. And then a total eclipse, of course, what we experienced last April was when the moon is close enough to actually block out the complete disk of the sun. And then we get to see the corona around the outside there. So that's really nice. So what we're going to experience this course is the first one. So now, hang on a second. I'm going to get us back to something else here. I think this one will come up. And got up on the wrong screen, but let me drag it up here. Okay, so why do we get eclipses at all? Why don't we have one every month? I guess it'd be more of the line to talk about. So here's a video from NASA just showing us
We're still seeing the three suns.
Oh, you are? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're not seeing your video.
My three sons.
My three suns.
How's that happening? Okay, 1 second. I'll bring it up here. I'll bring it up over here. I'll stop sharing for a second.
There we go.
So I have to bring the video up over there. That's it. Okay, got it over here. Now I should get it. Sorry, folks, just not enough screens. Okay, try again.
There you go.
Good. Okay, so what I was saying was, why don't we have one every month? Well, it's because the moon is normally either 5 degrees above us or 5 degrees below us. And the moon, of course, is at an elliptical orbit. So, that might appear right there that we are going to get an eclipse, but look at where the moon is.
Yeah.
So the moon has to pass through these things called the nodes. So on either side of its orbit, there are two spots where the moon is actually in a line with us. And it'll be passing through the ascending node, the node that's moving up on Saturday morning. So the moon has to be the right distance away so that its shadow does touch the planet Earth, and it may be aligned, but the shadow may not be back far enough. So we'll have an annular eclipse in that case, but in the case that it's just below us or above us, that's where it normally is. So we don't have one every month for that reason. And what we're going to have this Saturday is that it's going to be just slightly above, but passing across our planet, of course. So it won't be completely in line. It'll just have passed through what we call the ascending node. Okay.
The elliptical path of the moon around the Earth intersects the elliptical.
Oh, here we are. Same thing. This is the ecliptic, and here's the moon passing through the nodes on either side. When it's in the node is in the right spot, then we have an eclipse, solar eclipse. Passing through the other side, if it does pass through directly in line with us in the sun, then we'll have a total lunar eclipse like we had just a short while. So we always have 2 weeks away from the other. All right, let's keep going for pictures here. So can we see that picture okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the part of the world that is going to experience some part of it. And here we are in St. John, where we're getting, it says 83.8%, I guess. So 84%. Where we are, the darker the area, the more obscurity that you'll get. So really parts of Labrador and farther north are going to get the best view. They're up about 90% up in here, but we're pretty good still. So there's average cloud cover 71% since the year 2000, but we're not going to pay attention to that. And this is from timeanddate.com, from their website. So here we are again. This area will have no possibility of any part of the eclipse. We'll get 20% here from North Bay down to Philadelphia, 40% through Ottawa, and 60% down through Montreal. Sorry, down through Bangor, and then 80% or higher for us. So we're just happen to be in the right spot this year. So observing it safely, of course, this one you're going to have to wear some type of eye protection. You're going to have some type of eye protection, whether it's going to be an indirect view that you have, or you're going to be wearing eclipse glasses, or something, because it's not going to be, we're not going to have a totality phase where you can take the glasses off. So you do require some type of eye protection if you're going to be looking directly at it. And you can go with this type of idea as well. This is from the NASA site, so you can take a cereal box and just punch a hole out on either side of it, like cut a little piece on either side, and punch a hole in the center of a piece of tinfoil that's taped over this hatch here. You only need a very tiny hole, only about what a needle would poke through. Sunlight will actually beam right through that and beam to the back of the box. Put a piece of white paper at the back of the box so it can have a higher contrast, and you'll get to see the eclipse happening. Hopefully that makes sense. You can go to NASA's website to see how to make one of these. It's called a pinhole projector, and very simple to do. Another idea is this one. You can do what we call eyepiece projection. So through a telescope, you would pass the sun down through the telescope, right out through the eyepiece at the other end. Of course, not having your head anywhere near this, but placing a piece of white paper on the ground, or a piece of cardboard, whatever, and you'll get a nice eclipsed view here as well. Paper with a magnified image of the sun. That's from Sky and Telescope. Of course, we have the ability to watch it through a telescope and binoculars. So on either case, we have to use a solar filter. This is what we call a Bader type solar filter film. It blocks out 99.999% of all of the damaging rays that would pass through to your eyeball normally. So it's quite comfortable to view with. And the solar filter always goes on this end, always where the light is entering the optics, not where it's leaving. If you see one up here that's at the eyepiece and it happens to say the word sun across it, throw it in the garbage. And because if that gets any kind of a crack in it, sunlight's going to go directly through your eyeball. So we don't want that to happen. So always a solar filter on the front. And the same thing with binoculars. You can make, here's someone who made a couple of solar filters with a couple of pieces of Bader film. And as long as they're fitting tightly around the binoculars, it's quite safe to look at the sun that way as well.
Chris, before you move on, can you go back to your telescope for a sec there?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, just another safety thing. If you are using your telescope that you normally do astronomical observing with, make sure that you cover or take off the finder scope.
Right. Yes, of
That's
course.
also a little telescope, and we always say, well, maybe I'll look through that to line up my scope. But again, it's the exact same thing. It's a concentration of extreme light and energy, and you
Hmm.
don't want to be looking through that. So make sure either you have it off of your telescope, or you have the front of the front of it covered with a cap if it has one, or you can actually put solar filter on it, and then you're
Right.
safe to find the sun.
You can also get these things called solar finders, which allow, again, it's almost like a little pinhole projector. It has a small hole in it, and it has a disc on the backside, and you'll line up the set of crosshairs with where the sun is. You can also look at the ground behind you
Yeah.
and make the smallest shadow that you could possibly can make on the ground, and that's going to be the spot where the sun's lined up.
Yeah.
So that always works too. Okay, so from there, talk a little bit about, well, don't do this. So make sure you've got some eye protection on when you're looking at directly at the sun. Eclipse glasses. Hopefully, a lot of people have kept their Eclipse glasses back from April of last year, and they're quite safe to use again this year as long as they're not scratched or shoved away somewhere in a drawer and we beat up on. Should be quite good to use. I did do this last year. Before April 8th, I was trying to get the idea for kids to have glasses to fit them, and the glasses really don't fit kids very well. You can buy kids Eclipse glasses, smaller sizes, but kids are going to, they're going to bounce around when they're looking at the sun and stuff. So I thought, well, maybe we'll come up with a little idea. So I found this on the internet idea, and I did it myself and passed it out. So first of all, you get a paper plate. And if you have the glasses, you still have your glasses, lay the glasses flat so that you can trace around the outer edges of the glasses. And then next, roughly mark out where the center section is going to be, where the protective lenses are on the glasses. So any place where you see this piece here. And then thirdly, using a utility knife or scissors, notch out the locations for the protective lenses like this, and for where your tabs are going to go back through. Then insert the glasses through the openings on either end and use a bit of glue to secure them in place. Always good to do that. And then to keep them secure around the child's head, just pierce the tabs on the very ends and take a piece of elastic and tie it off on both sides, and that'll hold it back on the back of their head. Secure it with a small knot. Now we need an opening for the nose and mouth. Maybe not quite that big, but that's my nose, so well. Now at this point, or even a little bit earlier, the children can design their own mask with the fun objects or drawings. I found these at the dollar store and just secured them on with some glue. And finally end up with this.
Oh yeah, there he is.
So here finally a result, safe, fun, and effective way to enjoy the eclipse for kids. For kids and adults both.
You look like a chicken man.
Anyway, yeah. And this is one of the girls that had sent in one of the drawings to me, Madeline, and she shows the example that she did for last year for the eclipse. So,
Oh, that's not great, eh?
yeah,
A
so
wise idea to put some sunblock on your nose.
Yeah.
true. Yes. Yeah. Because you
You're
gotta
gonna
be
end up with
looking
a
at it.
nice pie-shaped suntan on your face.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
look at the tattooed what do you call those? Grow beards, whatever they call
yeah.
it. Mike's
Now,
got
whether you need that opening or not, it's up to you. I mean, as long as you can breathe underneath it, I guess. So. But yeah, but you will be looking at the sun for up to an hour if you
Well,
stare.
it makes it more comfortable to wear anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right. You can still eat food. Drink your
Yeah,
coffee.
that's right. Yep. Plug your nose. Yeah. Okay. So for me, the final thoughts I'd have on having the best experience. Okay. So first of all, plan ahead. Scout your location. You got time. This is only Sunday. It's still 6 days, 6 more sleeps till the event happens. So you got time to take a look. You'll need a good view of the eastern horizons coming up at 86 degrees east. So check Google Maps and just you can take yourself and drop yourself on that location and take a look around and see where east is going to be and some of your favorite spots. Try to get a view of the eastern horizon if you can, because the more of the horizon you're going to get to see, the more of the eclipse you're going to get to see. As it rises, it'll be maximum about 10 minutes after it rises, but you'll want to get to see the most that you can. especially if it's over the water, because over the water, it's going to be that as you see the sun rising over the water, you'll get to see this like a double reflection almost into the water itself. So you might see a really distorted looking sun coming up when it appears like this. Okay, so also know your camera and review your settings. Remember too to protect your camera lens. So if you don't know your camera very well, now's the time to get out, try it, take a few sample shots, because this activity is going to last very quickly. Like at the horizon, it's only 10 minutes. When it's up in the air, will be almost another hour, but you'll want to have your camera all set to go. Arrive to about at least 30 minutes before the sunrise. Just make sure you're all prepared. You get your seat, you get everything's in place, and you're all set to go. Bring a tripod for your camera or smartphone if you have one. Eye protection will be required throughout the Eclipse in this case. Now you can use Eclipse glasses, eyepiece projection, or pinhole projector. Now take the time to enjoy it too. Don't just be snapping pictures. Stop and take a look up with your glasses on and enjoy the event. It'll be some time. It'll be about 10 years before we get another one like this. Now next year we have one. 2026 we have one, and it's about 35% eclipsed. Not this one. So certainly not at sunrise. So we'll have to wait quite a while for that. So that's my little spiel, I think.
Okay. So there is some safety etiquette I want to make mention of as well for those
I think it was
who are going to take pictures.
Let me clear here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
with the camera, the DSLR or a mirrorless camera. If you're using a DSLR, how you see through the camera when you look through the little finder, there's this little mirror in there. So the signal or the light comes from the sun, hits the mirror and goes up into this optical device, and that's what your eye sees. So you don't want to do that because you can damage your eyes very, very quickly that way. So what is recommended that if you have the live view on the back of your camera, which most modern cameras today have it. I'd be very surprised if you don't. So use the live view monitor on the back of your camera to look at the sun and to view it and set your camera up and make sure your framing is right and all that. So do not use and look through that viewfinder. You can. I'm not even going to suggest doing it even with mirrorless. Mirrorless is a little different, but the best safety protocol is always use the monitor when you're looking at the sun.
Right.
And that's something that you want to consider. And also make sure that because of the time of the day that it is, and if you have to travel to get to a destination that is low enough that you can see what's going to be happening at that time of day, you're going to be traveling in the dark. So make sure you bring a flashlight so you can see on the ground where you're going. If you're going to have to walk over any terrain, maybe if you're going to a beach area, so that you're safe, that you're not stumbling in the dark and tripping and falling. You want to make sure you're safe there. And make sure that you have a ample card memory if you're using SD cards for your cameras. And make sure you have extra batteries, just in case you have a battery go south on you, or if you're at the end of a battery, that kind of stuff. And a good solid tripod. And that's pretty much all you'll need to be able to get stuff. So again, use the back of the monitor to view and image and all your stuff that you're going to use. Don't look through the eye viewfinder at all when you're doing stuff on the sun, and make sure you get your card and your batteries. Excuse me. I'm running a bit of a cold here. So yeah, so those are the safety things that I would recommend. Mike, do you have something to?
Well, we're talking about the sun so much, I had to put my solar glasses on so I didn't hurt myself. These are the coolest things. We got these during the total eclipse. And boy, if you still have a pair, hold on to them because they are the best. One thought that I have, because this is what I'm using when I'm going to photograph this eclipse, if it's clear and we get a good shot at it. Instead of using these solar films and things like that, I'm going to be using something like this. And this is a 100,000 ND filter for my camera. You do not want to use any density filters that are less than 16 stops for doing any kind of photography with the sun, because you can blow the sensor out. And like Paul said, if you do decide that you forgot and you look through that viewfinder and you're using a DSLR, you can do some damage to your eyes, and you can do some damage to your sensors. But 100,000, I believe this here is 32 stops is on this 100,000 filter. Those are okay to use if they're put up by a reputable camera dealer or, lens dealer or whoever, like K&N is a good one, good names like that. So that's just something a little different that I use when I'm shooting the Eclipse. So as long as I don't, when it's dark, try to thread it on in the middle of the night. I'll wait till the sun comes up and try to catch it on the horizon.
Yeah.
If you put that on, you won't see anything through it if it's dark. So
There. Yeah.
and
Paul's-
that or solar film is the best stuff in the world. Now there's
So-
two types, right, Paul? There's
Yeah,
one
so
for
there's-
viewing, and then you got that one.
Yeah, there's observing grade and there's imaging grade. To be honest, you're better off just to use the observing because then you can still image great images with the observing paper, but you can also observe with it. So it's safe for your eyes and for the camera. Whereas if you get imaging paper only, it's only good for the camera. It's not strong enough to really protect your eyes as much as they really need to be.
Yep.
And the filters that we're talking about here for telescopes, and you've seen these, we've showed them a million times, but that's basically the beta filter right there. So it's like a paper, and it blocks 99% of the sun's energy, and that does a really good job. Now, if you already have this, or if you already have glasses from last year and you threw them in a drawer and you're going to take them out, make sure that you take them and turn on the brightest light in your house and aim that right up at the light and inspect that there's no little points of light that got broken in the paper, because those are danger spots for your eyes. So make sure that they don't have that. Now, if it's a perforation, you can put a little small piece of electrical tape over the front of it, and that'll copy it. If it's just a bump or a bend and it might have a little light in it, you can actually take black marker and you can black marker it on both sides. But make sure before you use them on the sun, if you've already got them from before, that you just inspect that they're still safe and there's no perforations or dents or bends in them that you need to, because you can see on mine, I had to do one just recently. So I put the black marker on that one there, because that one actually, when I looked at the light bulb and the thing, I could see it right through here. So that was obviously a point which could be a danger spot. So that's another thing that you want to do if you're using something that you've already got.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all we got to do now is hope for the weather.
Cross your fingers.
I mean, so yeah, be sure you get it. Like, you have the whole week now. So don't go to the last minute, midnight, Friday night, say, you have a week now to plan your spot, to take a look around. There are lots of places, especially with us along the coastline, lots of places that you could stop in. I think of some place like the Lighthouse of the Redhead, or St. Martin's Lighthouse, or
Yeah.
right along the beach in St. Martin's. Those are big open places. Unfortunately, we couldn't offer from a place like that because we couldn't get cell coverage that we require to stream to time and date. So we had to pick a different spot. But we should still be able to get it. It'll almost be at the horizon, just slightly above the horizon where we are. But yeah, you've got time to get out, take a look around. Take a look at Google Maps, take a drive out, make sure that you can take a compass with you on your phone or whatever. Take a look where east is going to be and exactly where it's going to rise at 86 degrees, and just plan everything that you can as much as possible to get it ready.
Yeah.
before the
One
day.
other thing about the planning too, because it came to my mind when we were talking about it earlier, especially when you showed your photo of the sun. Make sure that wherever you go, because not everywhere are you going to get a perfect spot where you can see the sun, because it's only going to last for an hour from the time it rises to the time it finishes, from our perspective. So if you're saying St. John up at what's that, Fort Howe, trying to get it there, by the time it gets above the city line, it'll already be over. So you've got to find a spot, if you want, something with a decent foreground. It's going to be something close to the water level. So look for something like that, because anything higher than that, you'll actually miss the biggest part of the event. So
Yeah. The maximum, it takes place about 10 minutes after it rises. So you'll still be at maximum, but it'll slide away. And that view of it coming up over the horizon is going to be
that'll be the
yeah. So actually, I think I got one here. Hang on a second. That was in my slideshow. Maybe not.
One other safety little tidbit that you can do if you are using solar filters, it doesn't hurt after like a lot of them have 3 screws, you tighten them up and they stay on. But if you get a really, really windy day, it doesn't hurt a bit to take a little extra piece of electrical tape or any tape and just tape it on as well to make sure that it doesn't come off. Because if you're viewing through the eyepiece, and your filter falls off, you don't have time to get out of the way. You're going to be done.
That's right.
So you can't express safety enough on these kind of things. Even though it's an 84% eclipse, it's still enough to burn your eye.
That's right. So here's a quick look at somebody else that had the opportunity to catch it.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yes.
Waters. This is the live shot. You can see.
Was that in Ontario?
That was in New Jersey, I believe.
Oh, wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah. So that's what
That was from the one in 2017.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So there's a sample, and if we're lucky enough, we'll get a chance to see that too. Like I said,
It should actually be a little bit more eclipse than that one. At 84%.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, that'll be good for us people taking photos of it because like you won't at that stage, at that earliness of it, like obviously there was no filter on that.
Yeah.
He just had to stop down. He or she had to stop down because you could see the birds and stuff going across. If you're using a neutral density filter at 100,000, you're just going to see whatever the sun is. It's almost like a white light filter. So
yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, actually, Jeff was asking that question. How do you capture a photo of the rising sun while getting a foreground? So
yeah, well then that's it. So it's still good. You can still use neutral density filter, and then you can control it with the speed of your of the shutter release. But you got to be very careful not to slow the shutter down so much because then you're going to get a blurred image because your shutter is going to be open too long and that thing's going to be moving quickly. And if there's any cloud going over the front of it, you'll start to get a blur on it. So it's a balancing act, and that's why if over the next few days, if we happen to get even the sunset, it's the same intensity as it sets as it rises. Practice with the sunset and just to see where your settings are to get a nice image and the proper exposure before it starts to get up high. So it's no different really than a sunrise or a sunset. We take them all the time.
yeah.
Because the sun's rising, it's creating its own golden hour or blue hour light at first. So it's going to be very gentle because it's cutting through a lot of atmosphere. So at that level, we should be able to get a nice, like where we're going, we should be able to see it, the tree line and everything. See that coming.
I'm planning on actually running two cameras. One's going to have the 100,000 filter on it, and the other one's going to have no filter on it. And I'm going to, as soon as it gets too bright, this camera's off, this camera's on.
Yeah, and then you can pop your white light filter when it gets too
going
high.
with the white light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Dan says, how do you get ready for observing? You plan it. PLANET.
It's spring. We plant everything.
Yes.
And welcome Kathy Donaldson here. She's a writer too, so she's going to do an article for Explore magazine.
She's covering it for. Oh, great, good stuff.
Wow, yeah, so great.
I met Kathy at in Hampton this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay, I think we've covered all we can. So yeah, just fingers crossed for good weather, and don't forget behind me we'll be live here. Hopefully
Yes.
Here, there it is. There. And
on
my YouTube and Facebook page as well. So,
and tell me, Chris, what we use timeanddate.com for.
We use it to plan the eclipse.
Amazing, isn't it?
No, you use it all the time for all kinds of stuff.
I use it all the time. If I'm going to plan, like this event, when I first looked, I went to timeanddate.com and brought up, I think I actually had there. Where is
if
it?
you want to bring up their site, if you have it there.
I'm gonna right here. Yeah, I do have
it.
it.
Actually do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can share it right on a second. Right here. Okay. So yeah, I visit this site an awful lot, and I find it very, very helpful. So here's the partial solar eclipse for us, right? So here's the view at our maximum right here. And they actually do an animation as well, which is really nice. So they'll show you it's actually happening below the horizon right there. Here comes the moon and the sun together, and there's our happy face, set of horns, and then there's the maximum eclipse point, and then it takes almost about an hour till about 8:13 before it disappears. Right. And you can go to any one of the eclipses coming up and do that. So they'll list here the partial eclipse, and they'll even tell you the direction. So it's going to rise at 84 degrees east, maximum eclipse time, and the partial eclipse when it ends. They give you a whole map here to show you, where's the best spots to view. You can actually click on any place in the map. I go to St. John's over here, and it'll tell me, that they're going to get 82.6%, and it tells me the duration, everything. They're so accurate with all this stuff too, and there's just so much information on it. But I go in here a lot to do this to look at moonrise and moonsets. So I want to say moonrise and moonsets. So here we are. So there's our phase right now. They'll list all the dates and times of the cycles of a cycle of the moon. So here we are tonight. You know, rises at 4:28. That's 7 a.m. and it sets at 12:28. It tells you what percentage is when it's at meridian. So 40%. And then of course down here we are. Here's our new moon arriving at 7:57 a.m. on that morning. So just after, well, while it's being eclipsed, it's a new phase. Of course it is. Yeah, it's a new phase while it's being eclipsed. So 7:57. So yeah, they've got a lot of stuff here. If you want to take a look at other eclipses, it'll show you some more eclipses that are coming. You know, the next total solar eclipse is only 54 years away. Hey, hang around for that one. And then it'll show you the eclipses visible from St. John. So here's our next one, 2026. You know, little portion out of there. We get another partial lunar eclipse coming through, two next year, and then onward and right down through the total lunar eclipses coming through 2029. So you can take a look at any one of them, and it goes all the way back. You can look at all the ones that are going to be happening worldwide. So they have a wealth of information. So try it out, timeanddate.com, and all you got to do is punch your address up here in the top right hand corner and your city or whatever, and can spit out all this information. So very, very helpful. I use it all the time.
Perfect.
And they do have a whole section too that's on planets too. So you can look at, and they have a section on transits. Maybe it's just Mercury passing in front of the sun. So there's a lot of information there. So let's get started. Let's keep going because I'm just chatting away here.
All right.
All on my own. Mike, how about a Bino Bud?
Not bad. Can you give me a share request?
I can, yeah. So Jeff says about pointing the camera at it for any length, burn the sensor, Paul. Right. Oh, lost your Paul, you muted yourself.
I did. I was trying to get this other part ready.
Okay.
No, I mean you can control the amount of light that's going on to the sensor with, of course, if you know your camera. Don't put it on automatic for sure. But you're going to have it so that it's stopped down of quite a little bit. But at that level, for the amount of time, because you're not shooting live video of it, although you could if you wanted to. If you're going to do that, you'd want to use a relatively good filter on it for sure. But if you got it coming directly up off the horizon, just consider it like a sunrise. We've all shot sunrises. We all shoot sunrises and sunsets all the time. So consider it like that. So as the sun goes down, we know it's really, really bright. So we don't generally start to shoot it until it gets, it starts to bury itself into the horizon, and then we start shooting away, and we adjust the camera accordingly. So it's the same thing with this. It's the sunrise, but it's going to be a lot less sun because a lot more of the sun is going to be covered by the moon, especially with the amount of coverage we have on this. So you'd be fine for that. But as that starts to open itself up, get higher, and then the moon starts to pull off the sun, you probably want to switch to a white light filter or something like that anyway, and then so that you can capture the total event that's happening.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. Okay, Mike, let's bring up some Bino Bud.
Hey, binocular target of the week. This week by Bino Bud is the Eiffel Tower. Now, these wonderful people in France, they were just the ones that asked if they could have the Statue of Liberty back. Anyway, the Eiffel Tower. So the Eiffel Tower, or Pharaoh 6, is thus named because of its tapered form is reminiscent of the famous cultural icon. It's composed of 16 stars, magnitude 8.2 and a little bit fainter, and the bright one being a deep yellow in color. Now, how would I find it in the sky? On a clear night, especially tonight, right this time of year, Ursa Major is placed well in the sky. Go out at 10 o'clock, orient yourself 50 degrees northeast, look up, and you'll see the Big Dipper. You can't miss it. Everybody recognizes it. We're all familiar with the handle and the two stars, Mizar and Alcor. Well, you look up to those two and the next star to it, and you make like a triangle between those two stars and a spot out in the middle here, and you're going to find the Eiffel Tower. A little closer view, there's Mizar and Alcor. There's that second star in the handle, or the third star in the handle. Almost an equilateral triangle will bring you right to it. And it's right there. You can't miss it. So what would it look like? Well, I put a picture in here to give you an idea. But basically, there it is. It's upside down. There's the top of the, whoops, I'll go back one. there's the top of the tower, and it comes down, and you got two little feet and a big U in the middle, and then the little feet here, and back up to the top of the tower, just like the picture shows here. So, astronomy is 90% imagination. Use your imagination when you're looking up, and you will see it. It's the Eiffel Tower. 10 by 50 binoculars. It's not really, really big, but it is there. When you come up beside Marsan Alcor and come out and do that triangle, you'll notice it. You'll spot like a big V in the sky. Compared to the full moon, it's at least a full moon in size. So it's not that difficult an object to spot. Darker skies will be better, of course, like anything else we do, but you still can see it. And are you ready for this one? What does the year say to tease other planets? You guys have to get a life. R.
Oh.
That's binocular target of the week. I know, you got to get a life. Found it anywhere else, right?
That's
Wow. You got to prepare us for those, Mike. A little head thing.
That's no fun.
Eiffel Tower. That's good. That's a fun one.
That's good.
It is neat.
Yeah.
You'll notice it when you see it.
So
Yeah.
will it be there next year?
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Question is, will the Eiffel Tower or the Statue of Liberty still be in the States?
Okay, let's go with Rosanna's fun fact, Paul.
All right, let's see if I can make this work. All right, and here we go. This is this week's. Uh-oh. Well, hello and welcome back, Rosanna, for an absolutely wonderful fun fact again this week. And I'm sure Rosanna is extremely excited about this upcoming eclipse. So I'm sure she's going to be out there having a great time looking at it. So let's get into this week's fun fact. And let me just get the photos going here first. And there we go. Whoops, we got it twice. Let's do it once. All right. So Rosanna writes, "Hi, Paul. The space news this week is in my inbox. That's in my inbox contains some very depressing and dire circumstances for NASA. However, I'm going to put on my ostrich feathers and report on all the positives that I can find. Did you ever hang out in graveyards when you were young? My dad used to travel through a cemetery in the wee hours of the morning after working a graveyard late shift at the hospital. He was surprised by voices more than once coming from behind tombstones. Now, apparently in those days, it was a great place to nap after the bars had closed." Now, I can't seem to find my microphone, so if I cough, I'm going to have to cough and I can't take it out. The news today is that some of us might already actually have gone swimming in a graveyard. Now, this is going to get really interesting. So, by analyzing samples from the deep sea, researchers have found a unique variety of radioactive plutonium that appears to be debris from a rare breed of cosmic explosion called a kilonova, which likely detonated near Earth some 100 million years ago, or 10 million years ago. In fact, the ocean is actually a supernova graveyard, something to think about the next time you take a dip. So what is a kilonova? So kilonovas occur when binary neutron stars spiral closer and closer to each other until they finally collide and release tons of heavy elements into space. Excuse me. A kilonova is 1,000 times brighter than a nova, thus the 1,000, but from 1/10 to 1/100th less bright than a supernova. Now, this is an artist's rendering of two neutron stars colliding in a kilonova, and this is an image that was from NASA. Now, we live in a supernova graveyard. Brian Fields, an astronomer with the University of Illinois Urbana campaign, said in a March 17th presentation at the 2025 American Physical Society Global Physics Summit, supernovas make tiny specks of rocks that can literally rain upon the Earth. Now, this is a chart of the HESS Galactic Plane Survey. In a paper from 2018, the Galactic Survey identified 31 sources as pulsar wind nebulae, supernova remnants, composites, or gamma ray binaries. Among the 47 sources not yet identified, most of them, 36, have possible associations with cataloged objects, notably PWNE and energetic pulsars that could power the VEH PWNEs, and the VEH is actually a very high wind. That's kind of what that is. But proving this, let me give you the picture of the guy. There we go. But proving this kilonova explosion's existence will require more evidence, and the researchers think that they know where to find it on the surface of the moon, which makes sense since it could be hit first by fallout of any type of nova. Brian Field states that the tiny rocks that accumulate in the depths of the ocean will also hang on to the moon. Fields has theorized about this cosmic rubble since the 1990s, but it wasn't until 2004 that researchers started sifting out the supernova remnants from the ocean samples. They found traces of a radioactive version of iron that doesn't occur naturally on Earth and can only be explained by a nearby supernova sometime in Earth's recent history. In the following years, about a dozen more samples of both the ocean and the moon painted a more detailed picture of the explosion history. Fields and his colleagues refined theories pointed to two separate supernova events that occurred 3 million and 8 million years ago, and this is direct observational evidence that supernovas are radioactivity factories, that Fields said. Now, here is a recent supernova explosion from the James West Space Telescope. It's not a stretch for the imagination to believe that since a supernova explosion releases an incomprehensible amount of energy with a peak luminosity of around 10.43 energies, or approximately 10 to 38, I can't read the numbers you get here, watts, that radioactive fragments would easily find their way to Earth. And excuse me. Another way to think about it is that a supernova releases 300 billion times. Think about this. The supernova releases 300 billion times more luminosity than the sun. So, in October of 2024, the James West Telescope released a photo of a supernova nicknamed Hope. Great name, in my opinion. Now, a plot thickened for Brian Field's cosmic rubble theories in 2021 when researchers discovered an even rarer substance sprinkled in with those same samples, a radioactive isotope of plutonium. This finding required an origin story even more unusual than the violent star deaths that birth supernovas and kilonovas. There we go. So kilonovas are also factories for some of our planet's rarest elements like gold and platinum, and astronomers have long tried to unravel the mechanics of this class of explosion. Our supernova graveyard oceans have many mysteries and also hold many answers. One never knows what this planet will tell us about space around and far beyond it. Surprises are everywhere, including this photo. And in this photo, an octopus hitched a ride on a fastest known shark, a short-fin mako. The shark can reach speeds of 74 kilometers an hour, which doesn't compete with the speeds of the Shanghai maglev train, which is 431 kilometers an hour, but I bet either one is quite the ride. I'll take the train and keep looking for the little bits of surprise magic found close at hand or late years away. And that is this week's It's Not Playing. Rosanna's Fun Facts. Yay! I just got to find my stop sharing button now.
That's what I call one brave octopus.
Yeah, I'm telling you. With this sec here, I got to get my stop share button.
He's now a 7-legged octopus.
Am I still sharing?
Yeah, you are. Yes.
Okay, because I can't find the stop share button.
There's a little red square somewhere.
Just give me a moment. I'll find it.
A little red square somewhere.
Talk amongst yourselves, he says. Yeah.
I'll hit the
You know,
share
screen
button again.
sharing.
I hit share one more time. No, I can't find it. Isn't that something? Where did that go? Let's try that. Full screen. Press escape or double click to.
No.
No, there's no stop share button here.
No.
I can't believe it.
No.
I see the share button, but I don't see the stop share. Why is that?
Should be on the screen that you're sharing.
Nope. I don't see it at all. It is gone. I hit the share button. There should be a. No, you know what? I'll tell you. There's an easy way out of this. You guys chat away. And I
Okay.
will be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Like a killing over. I'll be back.
Oh boy, this is quite a week.
Yes, it is. Let's hope that get it out of the way now. So the
Get it out of the way
eclipse
now.
goes
That's
well.
right. Get it out of the way before
Simple as
Saturday.
that.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go with a few photos while we're waiting for Paul. We don't have very many here to show, so hang on, folks. I know we're a little bit over, but
I have 2 minutes. No
There he
big
is.
deal.
he's coming back already. Okay, let's take a look here.
There we go.
Here we
We're
go.
back.
Got you back. You stop sharing,
Okay.
Paul. Good stuff.
There we go. So it was one way to do stuff.
Normally it's skinny cat, you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor cats. Everybody picks on
Cats.
them.
Everybody says that. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up with that? Anyway.
What is up with that? Okay, we got this one up from David Smurd. Sun captures caught yesterday. So you seeing that? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Very nice.
Thanks, guys. And here's another one. Thanks, David, for those. And David sent us this one of the M51 last night. He said with the Dwarf 2. So he said he's still
Right on.
got to do some processing with it, but here we go. That's what she looks like.
So there
Oh,
you
nice, eh?
It's cool. It's a cool galaxy to take a look at. Mark Ficken says this one, by the Beehive or the Beehive,
go. Beehive.
Ah,
in spring. Vinyl bud, finest object, he says.
Yes, sir.
sir, look at that.
It is.
A nice tight cluster.
And it's
Well done.
Sea Star. Nice work, Mark. And
Yeah.
it's just the run-of-the-mill Class G main sequence star that just happens to have a habitable planet orbiting it with curious life forms on it. There we go. That's us.
There we go.
Spots on that sucker.
Look at the number of sunspots, eh? Like it's crazy to see this number of sunspots and not see a whole lot of flares.
Yeah.
You know,
There wasn't a lot of activity last night, was
No.
there?
No, we got that one. There's an M1 flare on its way. I don't think it arrived yet, or see me. I don't think it's arrived yet. It was supposed to arrive last night, or they're called for G3 level storm, and it didn't come. And it's all a guessing game, really.
Well, the spots still tell you it's active, so we got more to come.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah. Kathy Keith, I didn't get to share these ones last week, so I got these. Grabbed her shots here from the lunar eclipse.
Oh, nice.
That cracked me up.
So there's your start, and then there's
Yeah.
partway through, and then boom, there we go.
Oh, perfect.
There you
Awesome.
go.
Nicely done, Kathy.
Especially
Very
with
nice.
the weather we had that night.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
for us anyway. And Kathy Adams, a couple of shots on the 19th here of the sun again. Still, large number of sunspots. I mean, they say we're past solar maximum. Well,
Yeah, it still takes a few years to come downhill.
yeah. Look at this. Look at the number of sunspots.
Yeah, really.
Got lots going on, eh?
8,
Wow.
9, 10, 10 groups of numbered sunspots. Yeah, so fantastic. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, and if you have any images you'd like to share, send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com. I assume everybody was busy this week. That's why I didn't get as many entries, but we'll go with it. We'll let it go by this week. Anyway, send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them on a next broadcast. Just quickly take a look at what's coming up. So this is going to happen right now. That is actually happening now. There's a large coronal hole facing us right now, which is an area of the sun that basically has stripped away and allowed the solar wind to exit the sun easier, I guess, or larger portions of it. So there is an elevated sense of a possible aurora over the next 4 or 5 days. And also the fact that we just passed the spring equinox, and at that time, the lines of the sun's magnetic field and the Earth's magnetic field are basically parallel. So it provides kind of like a superhighway for these charged particles to make it in towards our magnetosphere. And all we need is a small crack in the magnetosphere to bring them in, and all of a sudden we get a big show. So watch for alerts. There is an alert, I know, tonight for G3. Whether we'll get there, they did say G3 last night as well. So I don't know. Keep an eye on your apps, I guess, is the best way, and they'll keep you updated, usually hourly. One of the sites you can go to a lot is spaceweatherlive.com. It has a website, but there's lots of apps that you can download too. But just keep an eye out for the next few days. We might have some activity. Of course, the partial solar eclipse on Saturday, sunrise in the east at 7:09 a.m. Maximum eclipse is at 86.4%, I said, at 7:18, and then the eclipse ends at 8:13. So looking forward to this one. And more information about the same thing. And like I mentioned earlier, we are live streaming to timeanddate.com, and they'll be live streaming to the world. So looking forward to our partnership with this group, this great group. Also, I will be streaming to my YouTube and Facebook channels as well. And if you want to get follow up on what's happening through these two eclipses, we already passed this one, but this one's coming up. Just you can go find me on Facebook at Lunar Eclipse 2025. And this is a nice chart that Lisa Fanning puts out first. Lisa's Look Up Astronomy and More. You can find her at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Mastodon, Facebook, Threads, and now on Blue Sky. She lists the event in the first column. The second column is the date. Third column is the peak time of the date, and then what you need for seeing tools. So thank you for that, Lisa. And also she has this great little downloadable section here where you can download what to look for in 2025, the best events coming up. And we have this calendar. This is our new calendar now for the month, March and April. Kurt Mason puts this together, 6-week view of what's going to be happening with celestial events over the next 6 weeks. So you can find that at sjastronomy.ca as well. And I'm going to say that's it for that part.
There you go.
Close those windows.
So, so there'll be lots of stuff going on around the around this event. So, yeah, so wherever you happen to be, have a look around and see if there's anything going on event-wise in your area. And if there is, join along with some other people to observe it if you haven't done it before. It's a nice thing to gather with some folks and see. There's some stuff going on down in St. Andrews. I think and that's Stefan and his crew. There's some stuff going on in Quinnen. I think Tim Doucette's. I don't know if he's got a view of it down there or not. I actually didn't check with him, but I'm sure he'll be somewhere around.
Yeah.
And the folks in Halifax will be there's a group down there from RASC in Halifax. You can contact any one of the RASC organizations, find out if they're going out anywhere. That's the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada groups, or look for any of the local astronomy clubs that are actually going out in group forms. Because then at least you're going out with some people that are experienced, and you'll be able to get the full capacity of enjoying this thing if you've never done it before. It's something it's really something to behold, and it's good to have some other folks around to enjoy it with. So there's lots going on around in our neck of the woods, and of course wherever this event happens to be passing through, you'll find somebody out there knowing what's going on.
Out of the top 10 celestial events of this year, I would say this is number one.
Yeah.
Number two is probably the lunar eclipse, but this one is going to be the one that you don't want to miss if you can help it. So anyway, that's our show for this evening. Hope you all enjoyed the program tonight. Special thanks, of course, goes out to Rosanna once again for fabulous fun facts. Thank you, Rosanna. Always a great treat to have you bring us the information that you find. I don't know where she finds it, but
she's a researcher.
She sure is. Yeah. Special thanks to all of you who share our program with your friends and family, especially Trudy out there who shares it with a million different sites. But thank you, Trudy. Remember, too, we do love getting your photos, to send them in to Astronomy by the Bay and at gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast. And don't forget about Saturday. Set your clock. Get up. This is one you don't want to. Okay, so until next week, wishing you all clear skies, especially for Saturday. And as we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes pointed up. Good night, everybody. We'll share our sound. How's this? There you go. And it shares sound.